Okay, so maybe here it is, September 23rd, 2009. Leonard and I are away on a holiday
In Canmore.
in Canmore. Figured we'd do a little reminiscing about our childhoods. Kind of a legacy to our kids, eh?
Sure.
So I was thinking, earliest memory. You got anything on your mind?
Yeah, I thought of the earliest memory of mom and dad that I have is in Coleridge, our home in Coleridge. I think you were in grade 1.
Grade 2, actually. Yeah, 2. Yeah.
So I remember it had an unfinished basement.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a pogo stick, and I used it, and I was barefoot, and I put it onto my toe. I plunged it down, and still got a little scar on there.
Oh,
That's what I remember. That's what I remember.
that must have
A
hurt like hell.
traumatic event.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go to the hospital or anything.
Yeah, but it hurt, yeah.
I
I'm
can
trying to
remember-
remember, what was a pogo stick? Sorry. Yeah.
This thing is that it's like a T, and it had kind of a spring so you could jump on it.
So you kind of stood on it and
Yeah.
bounced it around.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's interesting. So somehow you bounced it on you weren't quite on it and bounced it on your toe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
I remember walking around the hills because the hill was undeveloped around our house.
That's right, yeah.
So I don't know if that was part of Nose Creek or not Nose Creek. What is
Nose Hill.
Nose Hill. Yeah.
Probably, yeah, because it's, that was off 14th Street Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
God knows.
Before they terraced it with piles of houses.
More and more, yeah. For sure, yeah.
What's your earliest memory?
Mine is sort of a strange one. I just remember being in a car with Dad at our first house, the one I was, well, you were born there too. It was something like 315 15th Avenue Southwest. It's still there, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's next door to the Wisners. They were good friends of Dad and Mom.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Well, what do you remember about that?
But just being in the car with him, and on the steering wheel, he had kind of a knob, and it was kind of a small area to turn around, so he was steering. And I thought, hey, that's cool. I was probably 3 years old. He's old. I think he had a 49 Chev or something. Yeah. So that's the earliest one for me, and just being in the car with that.
Actually, when you mentioned, I do remember 13th Avenue as well. 13th Avenue Southwest. That house. Not much about it, but just looking at the house and looking across the street. So it was before that, obviously. Before
Coleridge
Road,
Road.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, my earliest memory of you is the two of us at the next house we lived at, which was 731 15th Avenue.
Yeah, that's
But there's a couple of stories that just popped into my mind about that. My earliest memory is us, the front steps had kind of a little balcony type thing, and it was maybe 3 feet high, and we'd jump off of there as such. That was kind of my memory of you, the two of us, Superman or something, jumping off of that thing.
A family called the Allens lived next door to us for some
That's
reason.
right.
That sticks in my mind.
Yeah, that's right too. A couple of things came back to me about our living there. One was one time they left us alone, and we decided we would try out their drinks, and we found some grenadine. So we drank a fair chunk of grenadine, and I still don't care for it too much these days. And the other one, I don't know if you remember this offhand, but you were quite clever. You took $1 from Mom's purse or something, and you went around the corner to the store. You figured if you bought something for the house, you'd be in less trouble, kind of thing. I don't know if you remember this or not. Yeah, you're probably, I don't know, 4 maybe. Yeah, and I'd be 6, somewhere in that range. And you bought a pound of coffee, but it turned out the pound of coffee was 99 cents. So you didn't get too far with 1 penny. That was quite something.
My life crime.
Yeah, both of us trying to rip off their parents' booze.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of mom, I just remember, I can't say when, but I always remember her telling us that she loved us. You know, she told us
Both
that
of you
once.
the same,
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely the equality thing,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
which tormented her
Yeah. So
in her life.
that's for sure, yeah. She always figured she wasn't as loved as her older sister Mary and stuff, so.
Or the boys.
Or her brothers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brothers are obviously more valued more being on the farm.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. Yeah, so that always sort of stayed with me, that, a comforting thing too when you're going through hard times. Well, my mom loves me. Maybe nobody else likes me, but my mom loves me.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes, I remember that.
kind of an early, I couldn't say when, it was strong throughout our early years that she would tell us that, for sure, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So she was good for breaking that cycle. What bothered her, she didn't pass on to her kids and stuff, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, she was especially sensitive about it.
Yeah. So she really kind of broke that cycle, and amazingly so for, like she was sharp enough to kind of figure that out. I'm not going to do the same that I experienced, kind of thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, maybe, what can we say about her folks then? Weren't out to hurt people, I don't think, just didn't know better or whatever.
And it was a different time.
Yeah.
There was a reason why they valued boys on the farm.
Yeah, that's for sure.
From what you said too, with Johnny being so much of a fix-it type guy and Grandpa not being, that would make them especially aware of Johnny.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. Yeah. Another category was memories of grandparents as such. For me, I think I was sent out to Grandma Meyer's farm when Mom was pregnant with you. I was about 2 to 2.5. I was there for a few months. I'm not sure how long. I remember them coming out and I'd cry and run away and hide when they went to leave. And one time they left, so that made me even more sad. So I have those memories of a little bit, not strong ones here, but just sort of. I remember going downstairs into the basement of that house. Grandpa would smoke down there by the coal wood furnace, so the smoke would go to the furnace. Not bother people and stuff like that. So I remember going down to the basement with him. And Kenny and I went there this last summer. It was exactly as I remembered it. The furnace is gone now, but the overall basement was kind of how I remembered it.
It was still unfinished.
Yeah.
How about that?
I remember Großmutter, which is Grandma Meyer's mother, saying prayers with me when I was going to sleep in German. But I don't know any German anymore. I definitely only had it for that little while and lost it. So I remember those two a little bit more than Grandma Meyer for some reason or other.
Yeah, and on that farm, I just remember, I think I told you before, pushing a turkey in the water trough. Grandpa happened to pull it out.
Oh.
Took it in the barn. I think it must have been fall or something.
Yeah.
Wrapped it in a burlap sack.
Really did, yeah.
Dry it out. So I was the mischievous one. Seemed like the right idea. He was kind of sitting on the trough and I remember pushing him. Why don't you go ahead?
Try swimming and see what it's like. I do remember them butchering chickens. When chickens would run around, that kind of scared me a bit because they do run around for a little bit without their heads. But still eat them anyway.
I remember Kenny killing a garter snake with the spade. It was on the ground and I picked it up and he threw it where the chickens were and they ate it.
Oh, what the hell.
Yeah.
So one way or another, you're out of that farm then, eh?
Yeah, I have a couple of memories of that.
Okay.
And I remember him uncovering Right, there was some mice, and there was, it was by a bale stack, and he kind of moved the straw to the side, and there was a mother mouse, what I remember, feeding, 4 or 5 little tiny babies,
Oh.
so he just covered it up, left it alone. Didn't bring out the spade to feed the chickens.
Yeah, for sure. On the other side, one memory I have of Grandpa Hagel, I don't know how old I was, but a younger guy, grade 1, grade 2 or something, and going to the grocery store, which is Uncle Matt's grocery store, with my dad and his dad, so Grandpa Felix, and him taking a chocolate bar and giving it to me. You might have been there too and got one. I'm unclear about that, but
Yeah, I don't have that memory.
so I always thought Grandpa Hagel, he was a pretty good guy. He gave me a chocolate bar. And the memory I have of Grandma Hagel was one Christmas, Mom and Dad came out to Bicycle to basically sort of party with the relatives for Christmas, and you and I stayed with Grandma Hagel and we played cards.
Yeah, I remember that.
A game called Muggins.
Don't remember what the card was, or the card game. I remember drinking her root beer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where she had the upstairs, the attic room, that's where I think she kept it fermenting or whatever, stored on the steps leading up to it.
Homemade, what the hell?
Homemade root beer, yeah, they made it.
Yeah, I'll be darned. Yeah.
So I was impressed.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And their cookies, the ammonia cookies they call them, eh? I guess there's some kind of ammonia in them. They're little round things. I just remember purple icing. They were good when they were fresh, but they got old very quickly and they'd be quite hard. Eh?
Hmm.
If that rings a
I
bell.
remember playing in the upstairs, the attic room. Do you remember that? In her house.
Huh. No,
It was just off the kitchen. There was a door and it led up to a room with us. Obviously, it was the attic, so it was small. It was the ceiling height was very small.
Hmm. I have a recollection about the kitchen. Was it a stairway up then to the up? That kind of vague bell, but being up there, you know. Yeah. So sounds like we have the same memory there about playing cards with Grandma at Christmas.
Yeah,
It was
fun.
fun. Yeah. She was good. Yeah, she made it fun, and we enjoyed her company. Hopefully, she enjoyed ours.
A ratty grandchildren.
The other, let's see. I don't know if there are other things I was thinking about our childhood. One story to tell you that I can't remember this, but I'm told when I was 9 months old, a bunch of the Myers had come over to visit Dad and Mom, and this would be like Annie and Johnny and little Teresa, and not sure who else. Those two for sure, because they still tell me the story occasionally when they came to visit them. I was 9 months old and just starting to sort of get up and walk around a bit, eh? And they were having some wine, so a couple of them gave me a sip. I got fairly happy and I started to walk. But it slowed me down because Mom said, took another 2 months before I did walk again. So, wine, the drink of champions.
Yeah. In later years, I still remember drinking Grandpa's homemade wine, Grandpa Myers. Remember, it was always harsh. It was red, harsh.
Yeah, very powerful. Yeah. That's what I remember too. The other thing with him too is pear brandy.
Yes.
Orange stuff, eh? Yeah. He'd mix that with 7-Up or sometimes with rye, I think, which would be a really powerful drink. Oh, we smoke. Yeah.
Actually, going to visit Grandma Meyer in her residence next to the church when she was still in that 1-bedroom apartment. That's what she had. She said, mix it with some rye. It'll smooth it out. Or I tried it. It was actually it was quite good.
Yeah.
So it's just straight up pear brandy mixed with rye.
There's a lot of kick there, yeah.
Yeah, mix the two together. It's good. She was right. So there you go. Obviously, her and Grandpa must have drank it that way.
Yeah, they
were
liked it.
youth.
Yeah, for sure.
Got that together, Grandma.
Yeah, yeah.
And with Dad, as he told me, Bailey's, he would mix it with rye.
Really?
Yeah.
Sounds good, actually.
Yeah, it is. Give it more of a rye flavor for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not as sweet.
Not as sweet. Want to treat it with some respect. I'm sure it goes down pretty smoothly.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I was thinking also just about our childhood was I started the paper route when I was 11. Probably you did too, 11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yes, by the Stampede grounds, right? So I remember.
That was my first one, yeah.
Yes, I remember we would go into that restaurant
Oh, yeah.
during our delivering the papers. It was a
Yeah.
restaurant
Mhm.
with a motel, I think.
That's right, yeah, there was the motel there too.
Yeah, we'd have a Coke and listen to the jukebox. I think Dion was on the
The Wanderer.
The Wanderer, yeah.
Yeah, the Wanderer. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little bit of a walk away from home and stuff. Winter times got, it was be cold and
Yep.
quite a walk to get over there. Yeah. But it was a good start. And then we had closer ones closer to
Yes.
our home. Long run, we had the block that we lived on.
Yeah,
I had it.
I remember the blocks there were almost like in the country.
Yeah,
I remember
very big.
a lot of open fields and stuff,
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly.
undeveloped.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that motel is where there's a car lot there now, so it's still kind of there. It's right, basically Cloud Trail and 26th Avenue. So it's never sort of been fully developed to be houses. There's still a bit of a lot there with cars on it.
Okay.
So, yeah. I remember it as well. Early days in Calgary, for sure. Yeah. And, from there, the hospital TV stuff for me when I hit 16. And I think true for you too when you hit 16. That was the rule.
I helped there for a couple of years anyway.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us do it before we were 16. Was how it went.
Probably for good reason. For
Yeah.
throwing off
Dreaded
whatever
diseases.
diseases that really were.
They seem to be kind of relaxed about it now. Hey, if you got a relative having heart troubles or whatever, and you bring your little kid, no one seems to worry about that. Yeah. So I noticed last time I was there visiting Doug or something, and the parents and little kids. Our day, no, there weren't any little kids going in. So something changed there. Yeah. I was curious. I got my first year after school. Some reason or other, I gave up the TV job. So the summer before I went to university, I worked at the Glencoe Club washing dishes. And then the next summer I worked at Quality Construction. And then the third summer I worked at Canada Malting. So that's kind of what I did after each of the university years, but I didn't really remember what you did, so I figured I'd ask you.
Yeah, when you were working with Quality Construction, I had my first job with Mike Hobel. He was working there, and we were erecting office paneling in Aquitaine Towers. That's
Really?
the job I got.
Hmm.
It was good.
Yeah.
That was my first construction job. I think what I did for the summers after that, I think it was kind of construction related. A little bit of a blanket. I worked at ATCO one year, and then eventually I got
Oh,
on
yeah.
with the city
remember ATCO,
when I was in university.
You were building the trailers at ATCO or something
Yeah.
like that?
I think it was
Yeah.
only
Something about hammering is what I
Yeah.
recall you doing. Yeah.
Yeah, we were putting on the rafters for the roofing, so we would insulate them, put on the rafters so it had a slope.
Oh.
Then they covered it in sheet metal
Mm-hmm.
after our assembly line.
Yeah, and then, sorry I interrupted you, and after ATCO.
I got on with the city.
Oh, with the city.
Yeah, in waterworks. So Dad called his friend Don Ross, and eventually they were able to call my name through Manpower. Then it was just a rehire after that.
Oh, okay.
So that was pretty good. He said it was a good job
Yep. That's,
inspecting water wells.
oh, that's what you were doing then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember something about water, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at Waterworks, obviously,
Yeah.
so you'd have to replace them as well, if they were bad.
What they were doing is when a contractor would go in and repave, they wanted to make sure that they hadn't paved over or damaged the top box. And they have their little maintenance things they had to do. They have periodically, they have what they call air takeoffs that are on the water main, and we would take them off in the summer, or we'd put them on in the summer, and then they would take them off before winter. So the high points, and it would bleed off air out of the water lines. So one or the other we did anyway.
Yeah.
So they were in the road, basically in a vault, so you would access it through a manhole cover.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be a concrete chamber with this pressure relief valve in it.
Oh.
And the main would be in the room, the concrete room.
Mhm.
So you go down and do your thing with it.
Mhm.
Make sure it's seated. I think they turned them on for the summer, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it took in more air or whatever.
Temperature rising.
Yeah.
Expansion, yeah.
Sometimes they were filled with water, they would collect water, or the main would leak or would come in. You'd have to pump them out and go in. Stand on the slimy pipe, working on this.
Wasn't always a fun job, eh?
Oh, that wasn't bad, it wasn't too, wear your coveralls and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
You'd expect to get dirty and stuff like that, though.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and you had your truck parked kind of in the middle of the street, basically in front of the manhole, so that's where they are, or, occasionally they're on the side of the road. Your buddy would be looking around, making sure no one hit you or stepped into the manhole. That was the big fear, right? That someone would be crossing the street and they'd nod out and step into the open.
That would be rough, it would be down 6 feet or
Oh, yeah.
more, 10 feet.
Yeah, because you have like iron rugs to get into it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 or 8 feet, or maybe 10, depending on how big the line was running through.
Wow.
Whether it was 8 or 12 inches or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
For sure.
And they were all guys, Dad basically, and they were friendly, kind of whatever, men's men
Down to earth.
doing that job, yeah.
Yeah.
Because for some reason or another, Dad had a handle on them. Like for locations, they had to pull some areas. He interacted with them one way or another.
Oh.
So it was cool. They knew each other, as Pansy knew him as well. That was the other part of their job in that kind of central area, and applications.
Yeah.
It might have been locations, and they might have housed the filing system as to where the valves were located. Because when I remember drawing it out, they physically drew it out as a draft if there was new ones put in, as to what property line they were on within the street and how many are located there and stuff like that. That was kind of another job. So I think in the earlier days, maybe they housed it centrally.
Yeah. Neat, yeah. So that actually job stood you in good stead after you graduated, eh? 'Cause
Yeah.
you worked there for another year. What I
Yeah.
recall is 70 letters of application and 70
Yeah, when I
letters of
graduated.
rejection. Before
Yes.
you finally got a job.
Yeah. So I remember it went from the summer and into the winter. By then they break down the crews and waterworks control, and I was on a main break crew. Like they just they break down more into what's required. So main breaks were more common in the winter. The ground would heave. because they had a lot more crews going around replacing. So I was quite pleased after to get hired by IAC. I think it was probably February, took that long.
Yeah.
Graduating in
April, so.
April to
almost
February.
A year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time. So you had some cold, nasty cold weather work than you experienced before.
Yeah.
You got on in the professional world.
Yes, real work.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I remember we had to hand dig a main break too. That was one of the jobs there.
Oh, really?
It was in a line that ran through between two houses. It was kind of a funny subdivision, and they had a 4 or 6 inch line that was in a person's backyard.
Well, yeah.
So it ran from just beside his house through the alley, and it had a leak. So they didn't want to tear down his fence and put in a backhoe. So we dug down to it. That's where, by then, it's fairly sloppy, so, they kept on digging the hole and moving the soil around, and when the hole got deeper so that you couldn't throw the dirt above the hole, you made a brace with timber. Then you spade a shovel onto that platform, and your buddy was on the platform and he shoveled it out of the hole.
Wow.
I thought, wow, this is real manual labor.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's not a big one.
Yeah. Then wherever they had spotted it, we didn't hit the break.
Oh.
So it was after like 2 days or 2.5 days. So then they tore down the fence and they put in a backhoe. They didn't want to screw around anymore. So the homeowner there had his crew in his yard every day. So they were sensitive about that as well.
Yeah. 2 days of digging, eh? That was long
Yeah.
days, I betcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they come up with empty.
Yeah, even worse, eh?
Where they'd spotted it, wasn't it?
Discouraging, yeah.
Because water can travel along a main and give the same, or it transmits sound so readily.
Yeah.
So wherever the guy located, like they located with ear jugs, that was the loudest point. Like he went both ways, but it wasn't
Somehow
the spot of
water
the
just
rupture.
moved more and was noisier at that spot, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a kicker. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that was a fun job. I think I did 4 or 5. Well, I don't know if I did ATCO in my first year at university or maybe high school. I did 4 or 5 years in the city. It was good.
Because you went to university for 5 years, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I did my 3-year BA, then the 2-year master's program.
Was your BA in economics too? I kind of
Yeah.
forgot.
Economics, political sciences, and minor.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. And then the master's.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specialty area then in your master's?
Not really. No, well, I took a few more subjects in one. I think it was international trade. So there was a professor that was quite good. He was interesting. You could regurgitate what he taught you, and you'd do well on his exams.
Yeah, I like that.
His world was always represented well on the exams. His thoughts on.
Yeah.
Plus, he was an interesting guy.
Yeah, for sure.
From MIT. That's where he was from.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, just a smart boy.
For sure. Did you do a thesis?
No, I did a non-thesis route, which was a couple more courses than a larger written project. Didn't have to defend it.
Oh, okay.
And I had a good project advisor who said, I've been thinking about maybe doing some research on kind of these export figures and, just testing out a few of the popular theories about trade, what Canada-U.S. trade happens.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you got involved with that.
Yeah, sent me off to research it out. Yeah,
So that sounded kind of interesting anyway. Yeah. You found it was all right to do that.
Yeah, he was an excellent guy.
Great.
Yeah. I think John probably talked about him, LaFrance, he had him as well.
Oh.
Interesting guy, he would smoke in class, he was very European, eh?
Oh.
Back in the old days,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, when that was more allowed, eh?
Oh, yes.
Death to all smokers these days, that doesn't happen in
Sure.
class. Yeah, for sure. Well, France go to U of C. No, wait a minute, you were at U of A, yeah, what
He
am I
did
thinking?
his,
He did his MBA there, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
He did some of the economics going through those, we had similar problems.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, for what, I think he might have taken that as his options or whatever, or maybe, did he do his BA there?
He may have, because his folks may have moved back to Edmonton after high school.
Yeah. Yeah, for
He
sure,
went with
they
them.
were living in a condo.
Yeah.
I remember that, he had me over a couple times with his mom and dad.
So he might have done all of his education at U of A.
Yeah, but when I was going through, he was definitely doing his MBA.
Cool. So you'd seen a little bit then?
A little bit,
when
yeah.
you were there, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember drinking, you made your beer, you actually made Stock Hill a couple times, and it was very, very strong.
Yeah.
That's when I found out that John could drink 6 of them. Usually at 4, or you felt it quite a bit.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
was impressed, he could knock back 6. Still head up the door and drive home.
Yeah. I remember that stuff too, yeah. Didn't know enough about it all and used too much sugar, so I just heavy duty alcohol.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Easty too, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
Yeah, it was too, yeah. It wasn't that good.
But John took the prize, he had the highest consumption.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, I think if I had 3, I was probably doing pretty good.
Yeah, 4 I think was my limit, I was thinking John could knock back 6.
Wow. For sure. Just thinking a little further about just other memories of our parents might be worthwhile sharing too, just kind of the overall subjects, or grandparents too. Flash with me, I had an opportunity, for some reason or other, I was 26 or 27, to go to Radium with Grandma and Grandpa Meyer. They used to go there once a year anyway. They liked the water for their aching bones and stuff, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And even Dad told me that his parents, Grandma and Grandpa Hagel and Grandma and Grandpa Meyer, got along very well. They used to spend a lot of time playing cards together, and they made a few trips to Radium together, stuff like that. So I had that opportunity.
You drove him, is that why
I
you
drove them, yeah. I'm not sure how it all came about or anything. Just, I did go with them, the 3 of us. I drove them to Radium. Had a great time, visited. They told me about their life in Hungary and coming over. And Grandpa even went to the bar with me. He wasn't drinking all that much then. It was 76, I guess it was 1976 or 75.
Mm-hmm.
And so he did have a beer with me, which was kind of nice. And so forth. So you know, you kind of luck out on those things, and you have these opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
We had the same with Dad, a little more regularly, because he lasted longer after Mom died. We had
Yes.
more time with him, and that kind of stuff. I remember sitting around at his house after Mom died, and the 3 of us, sitting around drinking with him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So those were good times as well. So I was
Yeah, for sure.
just trying to think a little more. Terry was kind of asking me a little bit about Mom and stuff. What I recall, I think she really got sick when I was 9 years old in grade 4. Yourself and in grade 1, would that be? Was it 3 years difference in school-wise between us?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I was doing grade 12, or I was doing grade 10 with Blair. You were in college and you were in
First year.
First year?
Okay, it was first year, yeah. So there was a 3-year
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's what I remember, like Mom didn't get up anymore in the morning for us for breakfast and stuff at that point. I don't know why I remember that offhand, but So looking back, I figure she was about 35 and starting to have these troubles with her lungs and all that stuff, which is rough. So she was pretty young when I got her. So probably our that one major family vacation down to Disneyland and stuff was very memorable. Seemed like it was it was only maybe 10 days. It's too bad. We had a good time for those 10 days. It was short. It went by quick.
Yeah, I remember the trip down on the motels. I don't remember Disneyland though. For whatever reason,
Oh,
yeah. I remember school going down. I remember Marineland. I was more impressed with that. I remember being disappointed because the haunted house wasn't open.
Oh,
That's what I remember about Disneyland.
that must be Disneyland.
So that's all you want to see after watching Walt Disney on TV.
All those good things on TV.
Where's let's go to the haunted house?
Yeah. The haunted house was cool too. Hopefully, eventually you got to it.
Oh yes, yeah. With Carol and Chantel.
Yeah, good for you.
Went 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I've been twice as well. I think after Mom died that year, we got some money from Grandma, and we took Terry's sister Susie was living in California at that point, Jay. So we took the kids, and Matt was 5, Mark 3, Jesse 2, and so Mark would be 5, Matt 7. Went there and they took us to Disneyland and stuff. It was a cool trip. We were lucky to be able to do that. Jesse still remembers Small Land.
Small World.
Small World. Yeah. So 2 years old. Oh, wow, pretty cool. Definitely hit the haunted house that time. And one time Terry and I were at a horse show and we had a day and we went to Disneyland again. We both wanted to see the haunted house again. So you're right about it, actually. We enjoyed it.
Big in the kid's mind.
Yeah, even this older kid's mind.
How's your beer?
Might as well continue if you're good for one. Yeah. Whatever you got
Flavors
there.
or your cow? Or
Oh, yeah. Sure. One of those would be good. I'd rather buy one of those. You got a good one for yourself there?
yep.
Yeah.
My normal beer.
Which is, the traditional, but...
The Big Rock.
The
Exo
excellent.
Labor.
Yeah.
The former Cold.
Right, yeah.
Rebranded.
I guess some of the things coming back to me, just thinking about Mom, the poppy seed pancakes. She didn't make them too often, but it was, she started from scratch with grinding the poppy seed and sort of making it into a paste and cooking pancakes, rolling it up sort of like a crepe thing.
Yep. I remember cooking out a very thin pancake.
Yeah.
The crepe Suzette.
One of my favorites. Didn't happen too often. Yeah, for sure. So overall,
So could you eat her halibut when they did halibut back then? You couldn't eat it back then either. You always had a fish allergy.
always had a fish allergy. Yeah. I ate a lot of cheese sandwiches on Fridays. You guys maybe eat halibut, and I have a cheese sandwich.
Yeah. Just good bread it, fried it was good.
That. Yeah, I have no particular memory. I asked Dad, how did you know I was allergic, but he couldn't remember anymore. So
Maybe taking you to the hospital.
They must have took me once, I would guess. Yeah, as I said, he didn't remember at all how did they discover that I was allergic to fish. I don't know, he said so. So I don't know. Yeah, I just know as far back as I can remember, and as I said about the cheese sandwiches on Fridays. So you guys definitely, they were good Catholics following the rule, no meat on Fridays, eat fish, so. That was okay, didn't know the difference, and still don't in some respects, so. What you don't know, you can't miss too much, so.
So do you remember Dad cooking in 1901 with his kettle barbecue?
Yep, out in the backyard there, yeah.
His briquettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah,
He'd do steaks and he'd do roasting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some reason I associate that more with later years rather than when we were, like, when we moved there I was 10 and you were probably 7.5 and our ratio of things. I don't remember the barbecue. Maybe he did barbecue, but I don't recall it until later years, even sort of more for me, sort of thinking more after high school, even recalling really cooking with the barbecue and stuff.
Yeah, maybe. No.
But
I just remember it on the patio blocks, cooking away.
yeah.
Dad happy, good.
Yeah. Yeah, I became sort of more aware of him cooking probably after Mom passed away, and he did more. And he and Pansy got together, he was cooking at least half the meal all the time. They were a good team.
Yeah.
So they would work on it together and stuff. So prior, earlier years, maybe other than probably the pancakes, we mentioned about those fabulous pancakes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff for sure. Walking down memory lane here.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have those thoughts too often.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you do remember the little fragments.
Yeah, they're kind of surprising sometimes.
Yeah. And without significance.
Yeah.
And remembering about the Allens lived next door to us. 13th Avenue or 15th Avenue, whatever it was. It's kind of like a thought out of the blue.
I remember the name as soon as you said it. Yeah.
I guess they must have talked about the Allens.
Yeah. Whoever they were.
Yes.
Yeah. And across the street were some people named Dvorkin.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Had a furniture store or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice people too.
Yeah.
Neighbors.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the Coleridge Road house for a long time too. They got that house built from scratch and moved into it, so it wasn't ready soon enough. We ended up living in a little apartment across from the Holy Cross Hospital.
Gloria Court,
Yeah,
which they bought. Didn't they buy that? I think they owned it.
they might have. Yeah, yeah. How did that work?
I remember that too.
Yeah,
In
October.
the backyard.
Yeah. Might have been there for 3, 4, or 5 months. I'm not sure anymore now. And then, but I do know I was in grade 2 then. So maybe I started grade 2 at Holy Angels. That's where I went to grade 1 at. That was the one
In Killarney.
no, 5th Street South, off of 5th Street Southwest and 20th Avenue. It was just a little school, still there. I don't know if it's used as a school anymore.
Cliff Bungalow.
Cliff Bungalow is around the corner from it.
Yeah.
So I went to grade 1 and I guess part of grade 2 while we were in that apartment. And then I went to St. Lawrence School. It's closer to 4th Street Northwest. It was a good hike for a little kid, probably a good mile or so from, and I walked it from home, took my lunch, walked by Uncle Bill and Aunt Margaret Saunders' house on the way to school. So it's up 4th Street there, not 4th Street. So they were on 10th Street, I think. I'm confused about those streets. I think that's 10th Street. So, those long walks that I remember because it was quite a far distance. And if I was in grade 2, I guess you were still at home because they didn't really have kindergarten and stuff.
No.
With the difference between us. Yeah. That was the other thing about Coleridge Road. Dad was a real baseball fan, and in those days the World Series was played during the day. Like they didn't have night games or whatever. So I think the next year when we were there, so this would probably be 1957 or maybe 58 October. he got sick with the flu and he was in bed for a week, but he was also watching each game, each game, and very happy about it.
Advantageous.
Yeah. So after that, then we moved to the duplex, where we went to Holy Name School.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were there for me, for grades 3 and 4, so grades 1 and 2 for yourself.
One, anyways.
Yeah.
I think grade 2, if I remember right, was St. Mary's at least.
Yeah, you're probably right. Grade 5 is for me, so grade 2 for you. Yeah, we went to St. Mary's, and that's when we moved.
Yeah.
To 1901. Yeah. So the other thing I was thinking about with Grandpa Hagel was, I remember the drive to Bicycle the day that he died.
Mm-hmm.
It was in 1960 in May, and Mom and Dad didn't tell us what was going on, but they were so tense driving out, eh? It seemed like a long drive, and something didn't seem right, is all I recall, eh? And then we get there, and Grandpa had passed away, sitting down after Mass, after church, eh? Just heart attack, and went very peacefully, so
Yep.
can't complain about that. 2 kickers with it. It was the day of the celebration of his mother-in-law, Grandma Schmaltz, her 90th birthday. I don't know if you knew that. So they had it anyway. And Uncle Lawrence had got married the day before. And so the next day, they'd stayed at a motel in Calgary, and he gets a call. Her dad died. You gotta come home. Tough one now that I'm older and more aware.
Of the consequence,
Yeah, hell of a way to start your marriage and honeymoon and stuff. Yeah, that's a bugger.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I think that was the first corpse I'd seen was Grandpa Hagel.
Me too, yeah. It's a
In
little
the
freaky.
parlor,
Yeah.
laid out on the
Yeah.
the couch or whatever with the day gone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, kind of a little hard to understand and take,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember being scared particularly, but.
Yeah, it was a significant event to look anyway.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Yeah, sounds like that's another day you remember well too,
Mhm.
then, eh? Yeah.
Well, just that event.
Yeah.
I remember the background to it.
Okay. But you're not remembering the drive out, eh?
It's always a long time to get the bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I always remember Mom being so insistent about us learning to drive, in case Dad had a heart attack on the way to Bicycle, so that we could take over. So, yeah, I definitely, Dad was pretty patient with me, so I certainly wasn't coordinated in learning how to drive the Standard when I was 14 and all that. Grandpa Meyer took me for my driver's test when I was 16, so July 15th. I was there with Grandpa, he drove me to
In
the
his
testing.
Oldsmobile.
Yeah, oh yeah, beautiful car, that one. And, so, I took the test, I passed and all that. Grandpa said, "Tell him you failed. We'll play a joke on him." I don't think I could keep a straight face on that one. So they saw through me pretty quick. Yeah, he was pretty fun-loving, sort of humorous guy, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that about him.
Yeah, remember the parties with him, the more the party was going, the louder his voice got.
He was drinking his wine and
Yeah.
a rye.
So you knew he was happy.
Grandma Meyer, you old fool.
Too true, yeah. Be quiet, you old fool. You don't know what you're talking about.
And she laughs, I remember that. She was having her good time too.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Very Kenny tells, one time Grandpa had a brother, Uncle Mike, who lived in Philadelphia, and another one, Uncle Julius, who was living in California. And they came to visit, and so with Grandpa and Uncle Florian, so you got the four brothers together. First time in who knows how many years, eh? And they went to the Lord Nelson Inn right by Kenny's office, the four of them. I don't know that Kenny was there, but he just told me the story that the four of them go for a drink and start visiting. As I said about Grandpa, I think must have been true about his brothers too. The voices got louder and louder. And the waitress comes over and says, "If you guys don't stop fighting, you're going to have to leave." And Grandpa says, "Fighting? Who's fighting? We're just talking." So we'll see on the camera here if our voices get louder as we've had them lately.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we used to frequent the Lord Nelson from IAC days.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It was around the corner from there? So it's
No, we were on 8th Street and 13th Avenue Southwest. But for some reason we liked the Lord.
Yeah, just a 4-block walk or so, not bad. Yeah.
Just drove.
Yeah.
Unafraid of anything, eh?
Yeah, oh yeah, things have changed a lot since then, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, wars about liquor were much different now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, God said it himself a lot of times, it's a good thing the Buick knew the way home and stuff, eh?
Yeah.
But the surprising thing sometimes when he was a little less certain that that it had got him home, even though he was at home, you know, I'd go out and I'd look in the car, perfectly centered in that small garage, eh? Like it filled it. He didn't have much clearance yet, but he, you know, so he was still pretty confident.
I remember Dale Harney mentioning once that the dad came stumbling in a bit. He was way in his cuffs after a night out bartending, and obviously they partied after. Said he went out and looked at the car, and it was parked about 3 feet beside the curb. He was way out into the road. So Dale moved it.
Wasn't quite so good
That was the bad one.
I can see Dad sort of saying, "God damn it, if I'm home, I'm sure glad I'm home." Not being sure if he was. The other thing that just struck me about that one was when Dad had that mild heart attack when he was 64, eh? That's when the doctor said, "You just had your last cigarette." And his response was, "God damn it, if I'd have known that, I'd have stayed home and had one more before I came to the hospital."
Yeah.
He appreciated the vices. Yeah.
But he respected that. Actually, he didn't smoke after that, did he?
No, he did quit, yeah. So more power to him, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I never saw him myself. I think Pansy said one time he asked you for a puff or two or something, but
Yeah, it was
just
very
chip in,
isolated.
just to see how it was or something. Yeah, but he never started it up again. Yeah.
You know.
Well, I still smoked around him for a long time, so it was quite a while later before I quit. It's another 6 years. Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So he was tolerant that way anyway.
Yeah.
So I think you ended up quitting, what, a year or two before I did?
Yeah, I had to by a couple of years.
Yeah.
You had to make up your mind.
Yeah. Not only the mind, but sort of the willpower to to keep going with it, ain't it?
I'll keep going, yeah.
You know, I tried lots of times. They got to the point I'd lasted. At one point, I had quit for a year, and I knew that you had quit for a year and taken one and got yourself in trouble. Did the same. I should have known better from your experience, but I didn't. Then it was sort of downhill from there. I'd quit at New Year's, and I lasted 3 months one time. Next time it was sort of about 3 weeks, and the next time it was the third day. So I kind of gave up for a while. Just ended up getting real sick and not smoking for 3 days, which I always found the hardest. But here's my choice: do I quit now or start now? I thought, we got 3 days in, it's a good start. Also, I just had to hold on to. I always found the first one just tasted like hell, but the second one really tasted good.
Trained your body.
Yeah, so I just held on to the thought. First one always tastes like hell. Don't take it. Don't take it. You had told me you can't take them. Severe
No
experiences.
colds, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. That's right. Yeah. So that's what kept me going. Once you get past the 3 months, it eases off considerably. Yeah.
So did you take anything? You didn't
At
do
that point, I'd had that good start, and still was kind of sick of that bronchitis. So it took a little while to recover from that anyway and stuff. So yeah, so I didn't no patch or things like that, if that's what you were asking.
Yeah. I'd use the Chinese thing when they put a pin in your ear.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
When you quit for the last time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it when you had the urge, you squeezed on it. It was basically it was a circle with a pointy, and they stuck it into your ear and put a little Band-Aid on to hold it in place. So maybe it was negative reinforcement or whatever, but I thought it took about half the urge away.
It's all right. What the hell?
I went and saw him and said, we're going to remove it in 3 days and replace it with another, what they call point, for acupuncture, that's it.
Yeah.
We did it, and 9 days later I took it out myself. And I had thrown down the urge
Enough that
considerable. But I put before it for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, you do come to realize it's more in your head than anything else, just that it's still tough to deal with, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to.
Yeah.
See, it's not for me.
Yeah, for myself, after all those years, I really had to learn how to relax without smoking. Well, you know how it is. You smoke for any good reason. Well, I'm going to relax now, I'll have a smoke. I'm anxious now, I better have a smoke. I got to go do this, better have a smoke. So learning how to relax without cigarettes took quite a while, actually. A lot more drinking for a while.
And too, I think Carol and I were going out at that time when we were running, so that was like major negative reinforcement. So I remember getting lung burning up to it, and you'd be gasping for breath at the end of it.
Well,
as you're spewing out your stuff.
yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, cigarettes aren't for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a tough one to shake.
Yeah.
That's definitely what keeps me away now is I know if I took one, I'd be back starting up again, full tilt boogie, pack every day within 2 weeks for sure. And just trying to quit again would be so damn hard. I just don't want to face it. So, in terms of alcoholic, I once read about the guy saying, I probably have another relapse in me, but I'm not so sure that I have another recovery in me. Probably true with me too. So better not to go through the cycle if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
At this point, I rarely think about it.
I don't actually. And the negative reinforcement from running was,
Really showed you for yourself.
oh yeah, so like well, you'd be paranoid.
Yeah.
So I don't like to be breathless.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like after
Oh,
a 2-mile run.
well,
You were breathless and you felt a real burning in your chest.
so you just couldn't get enough air then.
Yeah, because your body's moving. I don't know what I was doing, but snoring. teaching you not to have cigarettes anymore. It was a good teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
But I liked running in the middle. It was good.
Mhm, mhm.
You started, you're tired, and your body started starts kicking in your hormones and endorphins or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
endorphins, I think it is.
Endorphins, yeah. So things are good, but it was when you're close to being done as a smoker, not having quite kicked that out. That's when
Mhm.
it got very tense.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So after a while then, with quitting and stuff, then
I was gone.
you're able to breathe okay?
Yeah, maybe 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
So it was a long time.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
You'd
that's
get
not
it.
bad. Yeah.
You'd get it periodically too.
Yeah. Oh, it still happens.
During that, yeah.
Yeah, my disappointment with quitting was I thought when I quit I turned into Superman. Didn't. Although overall, wind was certainly better than if I was smoking, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's a big difference for your health,
Oh, yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, my doctor, the one I had before I retired, pretty near every time he saw me, he said, best thing you ever did for yourself, quitting smoking. Given the cholesterol and stuff that are kind of there for us Eagles.
Yep.
Major difference. Yeah. Did you have any memories of Grandpa Hagel other than viewing
When
his
he died.
corpse?
Limited, I remember Grandma Meyermore, or sorry, Grandma Eaglemore.
Mhm.
And I remember Grandma Meyer more so than them.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
they're longer in our lives.
Yeah. I remember him laughing and joking in a party as a kind of a vague memory of Grandpa Hagel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was a happy guy, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was probably one of a whack of grandchildren in there. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
not
We were-
much one and one that I remember.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. Yeah, when we'd see him, it'd be like Christmas, Easter, all the cousins, everybody's there visiting and stuff, yeah, so, for sure. But, just figured I'd ask it, because I did have that one, the one time chocolate bar thing,
Yeah, one and one.
things that impress you as a little kid. Even now, if somebody gives me a chocolate bar, I still think highly of them.
I remember taking Ryan into one of my Middle Eastern clients, and he said, he said, go over there and get some candy, pick out whatever you want, you can have it, you can eat it. Ryan looked at me, and he goes, don't look at your dad, look at me, I want you to go and do this. So I started laughing, Ryan went and did it. What's so cute?
Yeah, I'm sure Ryan remembers that well.
Don't look at your dad, look at me.
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I picked up buying coffee beans and grinding them, because they had
Oh,
basically Colombian coffee or Arabian coffee, and was it whatever it was packaged as, they called it a Turkish blend, so
yeah.
like Colombia Supremo.
Mhm, mhm.
It was good,
Yeah.
rich.
I remember that, yeah. Came in a white bag, very dark beans.
Yeah,
I
they were
think,
dark.
yeah. So almost like espresso, but maybe, not, but
With the richness.
there's a difference, yeah.
Yeah.
When you get, the good beans still have a lot of oil on them and stuff when
Mhm.
they're roasted with quality compared to kind of what you get in the store. They're all kind of dried out and stuff. That's what I notice. Like
Yeah.
I'm buying my dark beans from Coffee Traders in Cochrane. That's kind of a local roastery place.
Mhm.
And the beans are always lots of sheen of oil on them and stuff. And I mix them with Melita beans, which are more dry, but You know, just for me to balance, I like for what I can handle for my strength of coffee. Although the darker beans over time now have increased more and more. I'm probably 3/4 to 1/4 as opposed to almost the other way around when I started. You know, just appreciating the flavor more and stuff.
Yeah, as long as the richness is there, that's what I found. I have too much espresso, it gets bitter.
Yeah.
Without that richness.
Yeah, there's a fine line between the two. That's right.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no worries. Maybe I'll check this and see where we are. $105. Sure, yeah. Why not?
We're back on.
We're back on.
Why don't you pull your chair in more?
I adjusted a touch, so we're probably good now.
Yeah. What I was gonna mention was, I remember, it might have been a Hagel reunion, at Gull Lake, or it was, a camp. Do you remember? I think Dad and Pansy were there with their trailer too.
Yep, that was the real big reunion in
Yeah.
1983 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was it.
It must have been back, yeah.
And,
There were 600 people there. Yeah.
exactly, and there was a beach anyways on this lake where
Yep,
people were
it is
swimming.
Gull Lake, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember going down, kind of trooped down there, and Albert and Teresa were there, and I think we were sitting there drinking beer and laughing, and I remember them just being so much younger and closer to us in the things they were doing, like suntanning wasn't the thing that the rest of the uncles did, and
Yeah,
you know, sitting down and having a beer and a laugh, and
yeah.
that was always a good memory for me.
Cool, yeah.
Because he was very hospitable and all that stuff, but he was fun and had a real joy of life,
Yeah, for sure.
as
For sure.
you know, as he did with his wife, and they were all joking and enjoying the sun and drinking beer, and it was pretty cool.
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we a little more lucky in one time in our lives when we were going to St. Thomas More Church. Father Martin was there, and Albert and Teresa lived close by to the church too. And we all did have opportunity to get together. There was a church Halloween party that we went to, and Albert and Teresa's very talented seamstress. She made them Tweety Bird costumes, these big yellow bird costumes. And for Father Martin, they made him a Bugs Bunny costume. And we had no clue, you know. We figured out Albert and Teresa, never figured out Father Martin. And they were funny, tweeting around in the Halloween dance and stuff. You can see it.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, Terry and Carol borrowed those costumes. They had this friend lawyer that went through that was an accountant. His name was Bill something, and he got on with one of the major firms, and
Yes.
they called up and made an appointment for Mr. and Mrs. Bird to go visit him to see him, and came in dressed in their Tweety Bird.
Yes, I remember that
Compliments
story.
of Aunt Teresa and Uncle Albert. Yeah.
Yes, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. You also mentioned Uncle Lawrence.
Yeah, we visited him when he had the Wild Horse Campground in Cranbrook,
Yeah.
or Fort Steele.
Across from Fort Steele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a great guy, took us out in his truck, in the back, trails and all those things. Yeah, about 2 or 3 hours, and we were seeing,
Wow.
you know, where they panned for gold, and
What the hell? Yeah.
you know, real interesting historic sites. I think there was a really, really old graveyard. It was, you'd see like 6 or 8 scattered headstones that had already been knocked down, but, you know, fenced around it,
Yeah.
you know, from the gold rush age,
Yeah,
from
the hell.
way back then. So he was a lot of fun too. He was a good host. He was a good fellow. And we camped there a couple nights. Had fun. Helped him with his garbage run one morning, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
As they would.
Yeah.
pick up the garbage and throw them into the back of the truck, then dump it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun having free
Cool.
drinks. I remember that in the above the store and the office. They had kind of a one-bedroom suite. So
Oh,
I remember throwing back a few drinks with him.
yeah,
End of the evening, and Wayne was there as well. Wayne was his partner back then.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Wayne's always a hell of a lot of fun too.
Yes.
Very good.
and they ran the post office there.
Oh, I remember.
Wayne yapping at people as the postmaster.
He got into the role, eh?
Yeah.
Give him a little power, yeah.
In a very funny way. He's
Oh, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
off the
he's
wall
not
guy.
malicious or anything, yeah.
Oh, no,
Very,
no.
very humorous. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. That's sort of what I was wanting to say about the timing of things. I think Uncle Lawrence was just a little too soon for that campground. Like, it was already established, but, you know, he improved it a hell of a lot. He was very
Yeah.
skilled and everything. You know, but it didn't work out for him.
Mhm.
I drove by there this summer, but, you know, busy when we were
Yes.
there. It was
Actually, I met the owners that bought it off him.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
They bought, they were a European couple. After they bought that, I ran it for a couple of years. They bought Mackenzie Beach in Tofino.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So Hagel, do you know Lawrence?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, they're nice, hospitable
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, so he was an example in my mind that it didn't come to me until now about sort of the timing of things that
Mhm.
maybe things would have gone better a couple or 3 years later, more people would be coming that way or something.
Yeah.
Which, you know, because it didn't go well for him, which I'm sorry about
Yeah.
for the guy, you know, for sure.
Yes, exactly.
Just trying to, some of what you talked about kind of triggered for me a little bit too. When we were in second year university, so you were back in Calgary at that point then, you
Mhm.
were a year at Holy Redeemer. Uncle Matt had fallen off a ladder, and one reason or another he went on workman's compensation. I don't know why that was, because he was self-employed and ran the store, and he fell off the ladder at the store. So he came to Edmonton for about 3 months and for physiotherapy and stuff, and he lived in the same place that I was living at, Mrs. Salamandix.
Huh.
Ron had given me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. That was the
Those
connection.
two connections. So there's another sort of basement bedroom, and Uncle Matt, you know, came and lived there and went to physiotherapy and stuff. And so we, Terry and I are very fortunate to have spent time with him too. You know,
Mhm.
he's taking his physio and we're studying, but we got time for a drink or two. And he was interested because in the war he had served in Jamaica. So he would drink dark rum straight or dark rum and water. Eh? If we were, oh, he's tough. Yeah, just good. You know, all these guys have a great sense of humor. Eh? I
Mhm.
can't think of good examples right now at all.
Just a love of life.
Yeah, with any of them, no, but just the humor is always there. It's the one thing that comes back to me and can share with you easily. You remember when Dad broke his wrist? He was standing on a chair with wheels to get some liquor out of the
Yeah.
cupboard above the fridge, eh? And we were visiting a few months later, and I said to him, "You still keep your cupboard down there, your liquor in the cupboard down here now?" And he says, "Yeah, in case someone falls down and they need a drink, it's here." Yeah. So all of them have that kind of good sense of humor about things. Eh? And from what Dad told me along the way, both his parents were that way. They were very happy people, liked to have a good time. He said Grandma was a little more strict than Grandpa Hagel, but she liked to have a good time too, and so she wasn't, you get people that are strict and kind of nasty and spoil people's good time, but she wasn't that way at all. You know.
She just had to run the house.
Yeah. keep a little order in the chaos, perhaps. Yeah. So she was good. Yeah. The other thing Dad said about Grandpa Hagel too, which you know certainly would be reinforced by Mom, was that you know Dad remembers there was him and Uncle Alois, Matt and Joe, and every so often Grandpa Hagel would have to go to town to get stuff, I guess. he would take one boy with him to go to town with him back. Everybody had a turn, eh, and stuff, so they all have a little quality time with their dad.
One-on-one,
Yeah, and on a fair rotating basis, Dad sort of got, because he was the third, that's when Grandma needed more help, so Dad ended up working more in the house. The other two older going out to the field some, Sure he got out to the field too, but, so he learned more about cooking and all that. Which
Yes.
put him in good stead for going into the army and that kind of thing. So that's sort of secondhand about Grandpa and Grandma Hagel. That was sort of good to know, that, like the Myers, they enjoyed a good time too. Happy Germans.
Yes.
That's us. Come by it honestly.
Yep, for sure.
Remember, Uncle Elway's, he was Dad's best man when he and Pansy married, eh? And, he was pretty good. I don't know if the kids really hadn't run across him too much before, and on that day, one reason or another, and they were little, eh? 1984, maybe now it's 10 or 11 or something. Work your way down, eh? They stayed with Mark all the time. Uncle Elway's gave each of them a quarter. Big money in those days, eh? And so that was all pretty cool, but son of a gun, he went and died just a few months later after that wedding, eh? That hit Mark really hard in particular, yeah. But he had that kindness, yeah. That kindness towards little kids. Interesting about the connections too. I don't know if you do know this or not. Maybe I'll bore you with it anyway. Uncle Elway's was in the choir that was run by George Stalinsky, who was Dad's boss.
Yeah, I didn't know
at
that.
AIDS. Yeah.
Huh.
So he knew Uncle Elway's quite well, and Uncle Elway's in the choir for quite a while. And then Joanne and Carol,
Yes.
worked together
Exactly.
and became friends and all that. So really interesting sort of connections about those things, for sure. So that kind of flashed with me about Uncle Elway's there too. Yeah.
I think, do you remember, what was the name of that gal that lived across the road? What her name was? She had worked with the Elways at Safeways.
Oh.
Big hair, nice gal.
I think you're thinking of Fran.
Right,
Lived
there
across the
we
street.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly, because she worked with, I'm sure it was Al at Safeways.
Yeah, he was at Safeway.
So that tied that loop too.
The other loop there, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I bumped into him once, he had that Safeway.
So did I.
There he was, sweeping the floor, yeah.
Yeah.
Very humble guy.
And his
Just like to
maintenance
be working there.
coveralls, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Just wanted to be doing
On
stuff.
8th Street, right?
Yeah, 8th Street,
Yeah, the
12th
main
Avenue.
joint.
That's right, yeah. He, overall, in sort of the retirement sort of things, he just wanted to be doing something. So there he was.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. More power to him. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He enjoyed it. Yeah. Uncle Matt was sort of similar. What the hell? Didn't work at Safeways, but after he sold the store and stuff, they moved to Calgary, and he did something else for a while. I can't remember anymore. Uncle always sold crop insurance for a while as well, because he'd been a farmer pretty well all his life, so he certainly knew about crops and could sell crop insurance because he knew what he was talking about, for sure.
Here's what you need to buy.
Yeah. I was sort of running through the others in my mind there. I sort of don't get all that kind of one-on-one stuff. Here and there I've run into Uncle Joe, and he's always very nice to talk to, for sure.
Yeah.
He too has that good sense of humor. The aunts, don't see them that much, it seems, you know. I was trying to remember you go down Rotos and nothing particular jumps
I
out.
had a bit more, because they were my godparents, and
Oh, were
so
they?
I remember them getting my little Christmas gifts from them in the Catholic tradition. So
Yep.
in the young days, they're friendly. Good.
Good for you, yeah. Yeah, Margaret was mine for the aunt.
Margaret and Bill.
Yeah. Must have been, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember Marie and Henry, they were always fun, and they partied with actually Dad and Mom, from what I remember. They seemed to party together.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, Marie was certainly alive from what I remember. In those
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
big hearty laugh, funny. Henry was always more serious from what I remember my younger mind.
Yeah.
Definitely, he was a nice person as you got older. You understood
That's
him
true.
and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, he's a decent guy too, for sure.
Speaks from his heart.
Yeah. You're right about her, she's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah,
even
deadly.
still. Yeah. Yeah, she's had her troubles, with all that damn sickness and stuff, but still a pretty good sense of humor.
Yeah. And Henry's her partner, trudging on.
He's very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good, that's for sure. Yeah. Feel for them losing a son already. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a bugger, eh? So young.
Yes.
And to have cancer, he had it for a long time, I guess, 8 years. Sure.
Yeah.
So, count our blessings so far, yeah. No
Yeah.
cancer, no heart troubles.
That's
a big way. Here's the woodland.
Yes, that's it.
The Hegel curse, cancer and heart troubles. See which one gets us, but hopefully they'll stave off for a while.
Generally, it's been old age for cancer, though, except for Albert.
Yeah, maybe Uncle Elway's. I'm not so sure that he was all that old. So it was 1980, when the hell did they marry? 84? That'd be right. Maybe 85. Somewhere in that range, I think. So if Uncle Elway's was born in, say, 1918, no. Say he was born in 1916. You're better at math. So 1916 to, say, 19... Well, if we went to 1986, what would that be?
16 is 84 years, then.
80, let's go 86 minus 16 is
Yeah.
70, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he would have been 70 years old.
Yeah.
Uncle Albert was 67, which was the same age as his dad had the heart attack.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I've met people that have known Albert too, and they talk about what a great guy was and what a shock it was. Across the community, they went, huh?
Yeah. And how can that be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bugger. Just ain't right. Just ain't right.
Actually, Albert and Teresa, after he got out of the farm implement business, they were looking around for things to do, and they were going to buy a small restaurant that did kind of a lunch trade, and they used BDC's consulting. And they got a good one, and the guy said, "This isn't for you. Like, you're just grinding it out for very little money."
Yeah.
So he said he always appreciated that, because his next thing he did was the co-op
The
ticket
lottery.
stuff. Yeah, after they looked at that business with BDC, and that guy saying that, "No, this isn't for you. It's like chump change and lots of work. You're not there at this stage of your life."
Yeah.
They looked at the opportunity with co-op, and it just moved into that. They knew it was the right one after.
Good, yeah.
So that was good.
For sure, yeah.
So BDC Consulting works even with the case consulting with a retired businessman.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, for sure. Giving them the right steer on that all is very important, yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, they have the
That
right
was a
guy.
significant thing,
Yeah.
to hear that and then consider it for themselves to say, yeah. His dad, mom, 2 years in the coffee shop themselves, they knew you worked hard and you didn't get much back and
No.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's a very tough business to make a living in, it seems.
Exactly.
You have to like it and figure out how to be good at it and know that you're never really going to get rich.
No.
And you're going to work hard and long hours. That's the thing. I had a friend too. His dream was, he had kind of an English background. I want to open up an English pub when I retire. I looked at him and said, you really want to work all those evenings? No social life, eh? Because unless you have it at the pub, they just, if that works for you, that's great. But for me, it would be a drag.
Will it work for your wife?
Yeah, that's the question too. Yeah. If both of you there are working, enjoying it, might be all right, but could be bad otherwise. That's for sure.
Yeah. Actually, my successful restaurateurs now still have a handle on it, but they're not doing that type of hours. They just have the systems that can control it. They can watch it.
So we got good people overall to do the actual work.
Well, they know how to
for those
monitor it
hours.
if those good people aren't so good.
Yeah, then they know quickly.
They know real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes good sense.
Yeah. So kind of the days of the families running the business and this and that, that's past. The families don't run it anymore. They can't handle that long hours, shitty wages.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So now they're smarter.
There's sort of the technology and the systems
technology to
stuff that's
monitor
come
it.
together
Yeah.
to make it more effective.
Yeah. But they know if there's a problem, they have to do it.
Yeah.
So they're prepared for that. Yeah, the generations that have rolled out have probably changed Calgary's face for restaurants. Because it's no longer as readily handed, to son and daughter and all that stuff. It's tough stuff.
Sons and daughters don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
They look at it. You want me to do that?
No, I went to university.
Exactly, yeah. I was thinking about the Meyer side a little bit, the uncles. I always remember Uncle Johnny used to tease us a lot, with all the kids, us, those nephews and stuff. He'd have arm wrestles with us, and of course he could beat the crap out of us.
Yeah.
We always thought, boy, is he strong, eh? And I don't know if we called him Tiger or he called us Tiger. That stays with me. That one way or another, the name Tiger got thrown around.
I seem to remember that vaguely in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember playing bridge with him. It was fun.
Oh, it's all right.
He played a very aggressive game with
Oh.
get his hand in some of yours. It's fun.
Cool. Yeah. Good experience.
Do you remember that? Actually, I still remember eating noodle soup with Grandma, and after we'd play bridge.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
does that bring
Yeah,
back?
it's come back.
Yeah. And there was enough of us playing, and there was always
Yeah.
lots of participants.
Exactly. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grandma and Grandpa never got to bridge, but they really liked
No.
whist a lot.
And actually, we'd break up. There'd be other games happening.
Yeah. They liked bidding whist, which is reasonably close to bridge in some senses.
Yeah.
And certainly playing it out. Well, playing it out was a little different. So I think, there's no dummies, so I think all 4 players play. But still, you're watching the cards and seeing
Yeah, you got your
what you
partner.
should hold. And you got your partner, yeah. Yeah, so it's a good precursor to bridge. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember he was very aggressive at it.
Yeah.
It was funny. I can laugh.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It wasn't bridge for blood, it was bridge for fun. Eh?
Yeah. And munching, that's when I appreciated Grandma's noodle soup.
Oh yeah.
I remember I associated the two for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't matter if you ate 5 minutes before you got to her house, you were eating something again. Otherwise, you were insulting her, so choke it down.
Well, even on our meals,
It was all
that
good.
was what everybody
Yeah.
ate and raved about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it was so good. And do you know what the spice in it is? I found out. Cinnamon.
The hell,
That's what
really?
gave it its distinctive taste.
It's alright, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I found that from Ada's, a Mediterranean restaurant.
Yeah.
So I tasted one. This tastes like grandma's noodle soup.
What the hell?
So I was saying, this soup's really good to the the server, and I said, can you ask him what the spice is? Because my grandmother made noodle soup with a chicken base, and it had a similar taste. She came up and she said, the owner said, it's cinnamon.
I'll be darned.
I've seen that in recipes, a few now,
Mm-hmm.
where cinnamon can be an excellent base. Actually, it's a good base in chili as well.
I like cinnamon, so
Yeah.
yeah, all sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the other thing, I don't know if you knew, Uncle Johnny invented the push broom in curling. As such, the broom that they use now.
Huh.
If he'd known more about how to be a businessman and patenting and stuff, he probably would have been a millionaire. He had a sore back and he couldn't sweep the regular way, so he figured out make a push broom. And Beatrice also kind of verified it. I remember we would make these things and sell them and stuff like that. So he actually invented it. They were good curlers too. Eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one year she won Canadian Women's Championships.
Yes.
In 71, 72.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about him offhand for sure, but I always remember.
Well, I
Beatrice.
remember at his funeral, Ken was talking about where whatever Johnny's group was. Do you remember that? Where they went to the Canadian finals, but they all got the flu.
Oh.
And as Ken says, Johnny said they did the shits. Do you remember that in church?
Oh yeah, now it comes back to me. Yeah, Kenny's not inhibited. That was a good one by Johnny, yeah.
And Ken, the strong one, to be able to talk about that in front of
Oh yeah.
a big crowd.
Yeah, for sure. Eh? Yeah, so that's notable stuff there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the notable, I guess, not to forget Tony at this point, just starting up the radio station and Drumheller and all that. He's done a lot of good stuff. He actually was involved in starting up that passion play that they have in Drumheller too.
Is that right?
Yeah, even though it was kind of long gone from there and it didn't start till sometime like 1990 or so. But one way or another, he became involved with it and pushed it to get it going and stuff. Yeah. So he's a member of their society for life and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
People want to
Quite
hear
cool.
the story.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's very well done. Yeah, we went to it last summer for the first time, and it's all outdoors in this natural canyon, the amphitheater stuff, and there's just I don't know how many volunteers to make it all work. Like all the actors are pretty well volunteers, and probably a couple hundred of them. Crowd scenes and stuff like that. And a choir and a band, and people selling in the store and stuff like that. It's a very big operation. Very well done. And the story is very good. There's a lot of humor in it. What stood out with me, Jesus would say to Peter, "Get the boat ready, please, Peter." And Peter would yell at his brother Andrew, "Andrew, go get the boat!" and stuff like that. So little snippets of humor all throughout the story and stuff. Quite well done. So if you have a chance sometime, cultural evening, try her out.
It's like Jesus Christ Superstar in
Yeah.
Drumheller, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's quite very well done. So Uncle Tony had a big hand in getting that one going too. So he gets around in different things, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so there's another uncle. I was back to the Hagels and thinking Aunt Julia, Aunt Rose, Aunt Margaret. As godparents to us and stuff for sure. I always remembered getting that gift at Christmas
Yeah.
from godparents.
Good deal.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, yeah. And when I have been a godparent, I've been doing the same until they're 18. So, and that's where I learned it from, was from them. So it's
Yeah.
good. I think with us, they only went to 12. But
They both are bigger families.
they had lots
prevail.
of kids too. Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know, should we leave it there then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Explore
I had
it
no
up to
other
the
great,
snaps.
great thoughts.
You can have a drink around them. Go out and try a restaurant.
Sure. I was gonna say, you could say, beam me up, Scotty, there's no more intelligent life here. So thank you for doing this, Lynn, for sure.